So this is Jamaica Live, Madison with Jamaica Live, and we are here in Astor Place with these lovely people. They are basically they're demonstrating the
vigil. We do this every Saturday. This man organized it.
And you're basically doing a vigil for against the Saudi-led war in Yemen.
Because the United States, our country, is backing Saudi Arabia in bombing Yemen. And we cannot stand for that.
Why do you think the United States is backing Saudi in bombing Yemen? Why do you think that?
O-I-L.
Oil. O-I-L. Oil.
Yeah, anything in the Middle East is oil.
Okay. Okay. So, what's your name? Do you want to say your name? Do you mind, or you don't want?
Carmen Charter from the Catholic Worker here in New York. So the Catholic Workers here, War Resisters League is here, Veterans for Peace are here, the Quaker community is here, the Benincasa community is here. There are a whole group of grassroots organizations, basically pacifist organizations, peace-oriented, certainly anti-war. Organizations have recognized that what we're doing in Yemen, what our country is doing in Yemen, is criminal. Recently, less than a month ago, the House of Representatives for the United States agreed that the United States has no authorization to fight in the civil war in Yemen. That the United States is refueling Saudi fighter jets in midair every day. And that is maintaining the air war in Yemen. This year, since Trump has taken office, the conflict at Yemen, the bombing of Yemen, has increased threefold.
Do you think the people in America know about this?
Recently, within the last 7 or 8 months, Yemen has gotten some news. There are movements in Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate. There are movements where there are people decrying what the United States is doing in Yemen, but none of it has very much authority. At this point, the United States is the main diplomatic enabler of Saudi Arabia right now. The United States does not want the world to know that it is complicit in the war crimes that are going on in Yemen. So we talk about the Saudi bombing campaign as being illicit. They bomb civilian infrastructure constantly. More than half of the hospitals in Yemen have been bombed. Water treatment facilities, sewage treatment facilities have been bombed. Electrical grids have been bombed. At this point, one of the things they need terribly in Saudi Arabia is fuel. And Saudi Arabia has, for 2.5 years, Saudi Arabia has maintained a pretty strict blockade of most of the ports in Yemen. They allow very little in. In the last month, they have put Yemen in a sort of stranglehold for the last month. So at this point, no commercial shipments whatsoever are going into Yemen. And the main thing that they need is fuel, because what fuel does, it is allows sewage plants to run. It allows hospitals to run. Very crucially, it allows refrigerators that hold medicines, that hold vaccines, to operate, to keep them cool, to not have them spoil. So we have watched, because of the Saudi blockade and bombing, we have watched a famine evolve in Yemen. You have nearly 500,000 children below the age of 5 who suffer severe acute malnutrition. That means they're starving. That means they're going to be stunted. That means they will have, if they survive, they're going to have developmental difficulties for the rest of their life. In the last month, what has happened has led the United Nations to say, listen, we are now looking at more than 3 million additional people being subject to a famine. And the United States supports it. The United States has a very long treaty relationship with Saudi Arabia. The United States actually, via the Vinel Group, actually protects Saudi oil fields, and it protects the Saud family. So Saudi Arabia has 2 armies. One army is called the White Army, or the National Guard. That army defends the Al Saud family and the oil wells. It is more well-armed and more well-trained than the Saudi army that protects the nation. So, and we participate in that process. The United States and Saudi Arabia are extraordinarily close in this regard. It is a horribly corrupting relationship. So I want to say to you, we should all admit to ourselves that we as Americans have bathed in Saudi oil all of our lives. All of our lives. we've been formed by it. We've been weaned on Saudi oil.
I want to ask you a question. So, there's a specific focus on Yemen, or other focus on other countries in the region as well. Why Yemen? Why you guys talk about Yemen?
Because Yemen is
the
poorest country in the Middle East, and they are being bombed by the richest countries in the region. It's not merely Saudi Arabia. It's Saudi Arabia and very closely related. In fact, the real bombers are the United Arab Emirates. But the support that they have gotten from the free world, from the United States, first of all, from Britain, from Germany, from Canada, and from Australia. Australia, very interesting. Australia is the country that runs the UAE bombing raids. So it is Australian special forces who were able to take leave from their time in Australia and go to Yemen and train and piece together the bombing campaign of the United Arab Emirates. So why Yemen? Because Yemen is so poor. The water supply in Yemen, annually the skies do not produce enough rain in Yemen to feed the Yemeni people. So they actually have to import oil or desalinate oil. The Sauds bombed the desalination plants. So because there is so little clean water, at this point in the last month, we've watched 5 major cities run out of clean water. Now that changed in the last 3 weeks. It went from 5 to 7. At present, there are 9 cities in Yemen that no longer have access to clean water. Cholera, the largest cholera epidemic in human history, in recorded history, had just come to pass in Yemen over the last 8 months. More than 900,000 people in Yemen have been stricken with cholera. Cholera is a waterborne disease. If the water continues to be polluted in Yemen, you're looking at possibly reigniting the cholera epidemic, and now very recently diphtheria, which was almost vanished.
Do you want to kind of tell Jamaica Live again what's your name and what organization you're from?
My name's Carmen Trotta from the Catholic Worker here in New York City.
Okay, yeah. And so basically, have you spoken to any of your representative in New York about this? As anybody in New York is in the government is literally talking against this issue, or it is just grassroots?
There is a. So recently, we've been joined by a group called Action Corps, and they have set up a series of interactions with senators. We have this coming Tuesday. We have a meeting with Gillibrand, one of the senators from New York. Gillibrand, here in New York. And we have met with several representatives from the House already. But I'm sorry, I mean they've been asleep at the wheel for a very long time already. Recently, there was a War Powers Act that came before Congress. The U.S. Congress actually admitted that we have no right to be engaging in what is a civil war in Yemen. There is no congressional authorization for the use of force.
I want to ask you a question. Do you think they want to demolish Yemen totally, that nobody left there and then they can take the land for themselves? Do you think that could be something?
I wouldn't go that far. When you look at something like states that have been destroyed, like Syria, like Iraq, like Libya, so Somalia, whole states are being sort of deconstructed, reconstructed, and it may very well be the case that Yemen is among them or about to fall into that category. So, yeah, I don't think they want to destroy Yemen as a
country. I mean, it sounds like it from what you're saying to me, because if people doesn't have water, they doesn't have food, I mean, they can't really live. They have to kind of flee and leave the whole place, right?
It's very.
I mean,
sadly, it is very, very close to that.
That's what I mean. Think about if he doesn't have water here, he doesn't have food, he doesn't have electricity, he doesn't have nothing. You can't stay around in it. You kind of have to leave. Well, don't you think?
No, there will be a population on the place that is currently called Yemen. What's happening politically? Like I say, you look at Iraq, you look at Syria, you look at Libya. There is no state structure, so it does seem like to many people that we are destroying state structures, and that may well be the case in Yemen.
Okay. I just want to film around, and do you actually show your
I
sign?
understand that Yemen is sitting on top of a very large pool of oil that hasn't been exploited yet. And I'm sure they want to get in there and drill for oil.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. I want to, this is, again, this is Jamaica Live, and I'm Madison, and I'm highlighting you guys' issues here. So I want to show some of the signs here. Stop starving Yemen. Can I see your sign?
Absolutely, Anthony.
This is Jamaica Live, and you're live on Jamaica Live.
Jamaica, I love Jamaica. I've got some great friends in Jamaica. Keep up the good spirit.
Have you been to Jamaica?
Love you. And you got all the good information from Carmen.
Okay.
No, I haven't. I've been invited to go many times. I'm going to get there someday.
I've been to Jamaica, man.
Oh, you've been to Jamaica?
Man.
Yes.
Oh, what's your experience about Jamaica?
I love Jamaica.
You love it? Okay, what's on your sign? Show Jamaica your sign.
Hey,
We're veterans for peace.
Veterans for Peace.
Veterans for Peace.
This is a very good one.
It's excellent.
Veterans for Peace.
It's very important. These are people that have been at war. They know all about war, and they've stood up and said, war
Enough is enough?
horrible. Yeah.
Is that they're saying enough
There's no
is enough?
more powerful voice than that.
Stop the wars.
And
Bring the money home.
are you from Veterans for Peace as well?
I'm from a Granny Peace Brigade and Brooklyn for Peace.
Okay, you want to show us your sign?
This is a leaflet. I didn't make it, but it says what you can do. You can call your senators and say stop the U.S. involvement in the Saudi-led war on Yemen. Children are dying enormously, and the diseases are coming into Yemen. And this is my first time here. And
Oh,
I'm
it's your
glad
first
to
time
be
here today?
Yes.
And you decided to join them today. You want to say your name?
My name is Connie Norgren.
And where are you from? What organization are you from?
Brooklyn for Peace and the Granny Peace Brigade.
Oh, Brooklyn for Peace and the Granny Peace Brigade.
Yes.
Good. I like that. So I'll come back to you guys in a minute. I just want to kind of film from the signs here.
So when I get it, I pass it on.
So you have a sign, 1,000 Yemen children die weekly. Do you want to emphasize on that for Jamaica Live?
Well, this is a consequence of over 2 years of war and a very comprehensive, genocidal blockade of humanitarian aid, including food and medical supplies, that's been going on with the military support of the United States.
Do you want to say your name and what organization you're from?
Hi, my name is Felton Davis. I'm from the Catholic Worker, and I'm passing out leaflets that were taken
Can
from
you show Jamaica Live your leaflet?
a New York Times editorial of November 16, right? Now, this is one of the most outspoken editorials in which the Times says that impeding humanitarian assistance and using famine as a weapon are war crimes. So the implication is that if this is what our government is doing and we are paying for it, the taxpayers, then we are responsible for the blood of those people. All right? And there's no excuse. Why should we be at war with Yemen? Why?
Why do you think America is at war with Yemen?
We're
Why?
not at war. It's the military, and the corrupt politicians wheeling and dealing over the control of oil and the ports.
Okay, so
if you had a map here and you looked down, you'd see the Gulf, and then you would see the Red Sea, and Yemen and Somalia are at the point where the Red Sea narrows. Okay, and so possibly there's some strategic, importance. But what is this in comparison to the massive sacrifice of human life? When you basically cut off an entire population, several million people, from the basic necessities of food, and then on top of that, you bomb their water treatment facilities, and that's what's given rise to cholera, okay? A massive outbreak of cholera, a treatable disease. There's no reason why any nation should
So I just want to emphasize on what you said. You said that America is not at war with Yemen.
The American people are not even aware. They
a,
walk by, they see these signs. It's like some other country.
Okay, so basically it's a small group of politicians and the military.
Yeah, and the Congress.
And people in Congress are literally doing this. But the American people as a whole doesn't really know much or ignorant to this, what you're saying.
And we have to start here on the street, to remedy this ignorance and let people know that because of our indifference and ignorance, there is an unconscionable action going on, and an entire nation is facing collapse. And this is totally unacceptable. All right?
Thank you.
It undermines all morality.
Okay. You want to say hi to Jamaica Live? This is Jamaica Live. Have you ever been to Jamaica?
No, I've never been out of the country, but hello to Jamaica Live. Wish you all the best.
Yes, we're good to have you. So I'm going to look at your sign again for people to see. And thank you for talking
all
to
right,
Jamaica
here's
Live.
my contact info on the bottom there, okay?
Thank you so much.
I
Thank
would
you.
like to see if you can post that up.
Oh, yes. And I'll give you guys a card too. You guys can look on Jamaica Live for this. You want to say, let me look at your sign. Your name and what organization you're from?
I'm Richenda Kramer, and I'm with Raging Grannies and Peace Action.
Gender Kramer. Richenda Kramer.
Yes.
And you're with Raging Grannies
and Peace Action.
Yes. And you're here every Saturday or just
most Saturdays?
Most Saturdays.
Yes.
You're here to highlight the issue. Oh, so
exactly.
U.S. back Saudi Arabia using starvation as a weapon.
Right.
Okay. Thank you so much. And this sign as well.
Sure.
You do want to say your name and what organization you're from?
I'm Jim Regan. I'm with the Catholic Worker.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.
Thank you. And this is Jamaica Live. And you're actually live right now for the world to see, actually.
We've been doing this since June 4th, every Saturday since June 4th.
Okay.
We've been
so
out.
you're here every Saturday?
Yes.
Good, thank you. Yeah.
Well, we're usually in Union Square.
Huh?
We're in Union Square usually.
Oh,
we're here because they've got all the Christmas
that stuff
village.
going on, the
right.
Christmas thing in Union Square.
Right.
It's my favorite spot as well.
That's
yes,
where we
Union
are.
Square.
Yes.
Love it out there. Yeah. Thank you.
So
And you're from?
Right. Thank you for covering us. I'm Alice Sutter, and I'm uptown. I'm from Uptown Progressive Action and the Raging Grannies, and we're very upset about what the United States is doing to Yemen. This is U.S. action. This is our tax dollars that are destroying the people of Yemen, and we're very, very angry about it. And because we have so many problems in our country, our Congress is not rising to the occasion. We need to put a lot of pressure on our Congress and not just letting this madman in the White House create wars wherever the hell he wants. There are a lot of war casualties. Yemen is among the worst, but we've also been bombing in Afghanistan and Syria and parts of Africa. It's so ugly.
Which parts of Africa? Because I have
so
someone
many.
here, Nina from Nigeria is watching right now. What parts of Africa do you think
I'm
is
not
happening?
an expert, but I know at least South Sudan and Somalia and probably a lot. There we go.
Niger, because Nina, she's Nigerian, and you said Niger, they're bombing Niger as well.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And you're from what organization you're from?
Well, I'm from Uptown Progressive Action. We're up in Inwood and Washington Heights and Manhattan, and we're connected with a statewide organization.
Okay.
And we're very angry about what's being done.
So you are very, very
we're
angry
about
at what's
this.
going on in the Middle East and Africa at the moment with the U.S. led. Okay, thank you so much.
And what's going on in the United States too, I'm very angry about.
What do you want to say to your the U.S. government? Do you want to say something to the U.S. government?
To our U.S. government?
Yes,
well,
please.
we are the U.S. government. We're the people, and we need to be listened to.
Okay, the people in Congress, the ones who are...
Yeah, and the people in Congress need to take a stand to stop Trump's hideous wars and attacks. We can't just have the military doing what the hell they want and destroying people, especially the civilians, but everybody, destroying people's infrastructure all over the planet right now.
Thank you so much.
And how is Jamaica?
Warm, I think. Warm and nice. And there's a lot of stuff going on down there too.
I know,
So it's all over.
Yeah,
Trust me. It's everywhere.
Globally.
I mean, you can find...
I know.
Well, planet is under attack.
It's everywhere, believe me.
Yes.
It's not isolated. It's not.
Not at
It's
all.
not.
No, it's
Yes. So I guess that's the child from Yemen representing, I think.
We want people to call their members of Congress.
Okay.
Hi.
You want to say your name and say hi to Jamaica Live?
Yes, hi Jamaica Live.
And
my name is Marty, and I live here in New York City.
What organization are you from?
I'm with the Raging Grannies and the Granny Peace Brigade and Women in Black Against War. And we are very, very concerned about what's happening in Yemen. 3 years now, people are suffering because of this American-supported war that the Saudis are raging on the poorest country, one of the poorest countries in the world, Yemen. Thousands of children have died. No water supply systems, sanitation systems destroyed by bombs with the name USA made, you know, and they think we've bombed them, and we have. Our money is going into killing these poor people in Yemen. We can use those monies for peace, for development, for our country. Now, we have been contacting our congressmen. We've talked to Congressman Espaillat in East Harlem, who is my representative. We've also met with Carolyn Maloney's office to urge her to make a statement and to help the people of Yemen by saying no more American support for this terrible war. We are going to meet with someone in Kirsten Gillibrand's office next week.
Okay.
So call her, tell her she's a mother, she's concerned about women and women's rights. Call her and say to her, stop this war against the people of Yemen.
So you're pleading to your American citizens, your American partners, your American people in America to call their senators,
yes,
call their congressmen, plead to them, they need to stop the war in Yemen.
They need to stop this war in Yemen. They need to stop it now. I used to work with UNICEF, and UNICEF is there working with what they can, but you know, there was a blockade. So during the blockade, they had to stop vaccinating children and providing support for those that were malnourished. Something like 2 million are severely malnourished children.
2 million malnourished children in Yemen.
In Yemen. And so during the blockade, it was difficult to get and to reach these children. Now the blockade is only partially lifted. So people think, oh, the blockade is over. No, no, no. Half the places in the country, the blockade is still operational. And so it's
and you're
still
right,
very
this is
difficult.
not in mainstream media, right?
No.
None of the mainstream media none of the mainstream media is covering this story.
Very little.
Nobody knows there's a current war going on in Yemen.
They don't, you know, they had something on TV a couple weeks ago talking about the humanitarian concerns. They didn't say one word that the U.S. is facilitating this war, that the U.S. is directly helping this war. So, you know, even what we get is not the whole truth.
It's not the whole truth. It's kind of sanitized version of what's going on.
That's it.
Sanitized version.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Oh,
and
say your name again?
My name is Marty, and I'm here in New York, and I thank you and all your viewers.
Thank you so much.
Hang in there. We've got many struggles. So do what you can.
It's all over the world. It's all over the world.
Everywhere.
Thank you so much.
Do what you can.
Thank you so much. I'm going to take a video of your sign. I'm coming. Oh, hi. It's a young person here, and it's good to see you here. So tell us your name and what organization you're from.
I'm not really part of an organization. My name is Jorgen Ostensen. I go to Fordham University. I'm just here because what's happening in Yemen, the United States is rolling, and I think it's wrong. And I think if you don't come to something like this, I think you're part of the problem. So I think I would encourage other people to come out and express their dissatisfaction with our government for what we're doing and what we've been doing.
So you're encouraging other young Americans like yourself to come out and highlight these issues of what's going on in Yemen at the moment.
Yeah, I would encourage. Well, I think part of the problem is that people don't know about this issue. I think I heard you talking about that, about how the media kind of doesn't cover it. And I think if more people knew about it, more people would come. But I think people need to take an active role and figure out like go on the internet and find this information, and then because our government is like playing an integral role in this like humanitarian crisis that's going on in Yemen, and I think for the Americans to not know about it is kind of us failing our democracy in a sense, because we need to know about the issues in order to really have a democracy.
Yeah, but I think in order for people to know about it, the media has to
absolutely
has to be the one to give the information. But the media is not really giving this information, highlight this information.
I completely agree. I think the media should be covering this issue more. You don't. If you turn on CNN right now, they won't be talking about this. You have to go to like Democracy Now! And Amy Goodman really to hear anything.
They are.
And or you guys, you know,
but it's Jamaica. We're Jamaica Live, so
you know, and it's great that you're here, but you know, more media.
More
should be
media
here.
should
People
be
should
here.
Be out here.
More media should be here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Can I mention one more thing?
Yeah, yes, yeah. Thank you so much. Yes.
Among other things, the mainstream media we should recognize as the corporate media, right?
Corporate media, mainstream media is corporate media.
We should say corporate
okay,
media.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
But earlier I had mentioned to you that there are 9 cities in Yemen without clean water. In desperation, the International Committee for the Red Cross actually has provided a month's worth of water to 2 cities, Taiz and Hodeidah. And they themselves have said that this is exceptional and non-sustainable. They can't do it again. So the humanitarian community out of the United Nations, a number of different NGOs have been fantastic in trying to expose what is going on in Yemen. Right now, as we speak, from this morning, 10 out of 13 food shipments to Yemen have been denied access to the port of Hodeidah by the Saudis. There are 4 oil tankers at the port of Hodeidah that Saudi Arabia will not let in. So the guy from the UN, whose name is Scott Paul, he says that problem number 1 for Yemen right now, the most immediate thing they need is fuel. Saudi Arabia is keeping 4 oil tankers off the coast of Hodeidah from docking. Saudi Arabia actually knocked out 4 of the 5 cranes at the port of Hodeidah in 2015. This against the expressed wishes of the Obama administration. To this very day, and there was a campaign recently by the World Food Project, which is funded by the United States. They purchased 3 cranes to replace the 4 that were taken out. To this day, Saudi Arabia has not allowed the United States to reinstall those cranes. This is criminal. These are war crimes, and the United States is complicit.
Yeah, this information people in America should know more about. And Jamaica Live, we're happy to actually be here to talk to you guys about this.
Here's the question in a way. Do the people of America care?
Yes, that's a good question.
Or are they only concerned at this moment in time with their own wealth? So we now have a president who became president by not supporting ideals, but deals.
I want to ask you, do you think the Americans think people in Yemen are criminals? They are those dangerous people who want to harm Americans. They're radical Muslims who want to harm Americans. So do you think the American public will say, you know what, they deserve what they're getting? Do you think?
No, I don't. I think the American people know very little about the history of Yemen or even the current goings-on in Yemen. So one of the things that is happening that they should be hearing, and they're not even hearing this, even on the media, is that our involvement in the civil war in Yemen has allowed Al-Qaeda to blossom in Yemen. Al-Qaeda and ISIS, Al-Qaeda's grown about 4-fold since the conflict in Yemen began, since the civil war in Yemen began. So they've taken advantage of a bad situation in Yemen, and they've been able to build a much larger infrastructure. But even this has not been really reported to the American people.
Okay, so I just want to emphasize this because I'm on social media a lot. Because you see, we're mostly based on social media. And a lot of Americans just think, most radical Islam, they deserve, just kill all of them. Kill all of them.
The main people that we are fighting against, the Houthi rebels that the United States has allied itself against them, against the Houthi rebels, are an overt enemy of Al-Qaeda. They are Shia. They are considered a Shia sect. They are not Sunni, and they have battled against Al Qaeda successfully and repeatedly. So,
do you want to repeat that for Jamaica Live viewers? So this set of people, they are fighting against what's going on.
The United States is fighting in part when we participate in the civil war. We're on the side of the Saudis against the Houthi, the so-called Houthi rebels. The Houthis are a tribe. They are a Shia Islam tribe. Yeah. Why am I losing my train of thought?
It's okay. It's okay because it's a lot. It's a lot. I get it.
Yeah.
So basically, there's tribes.
So they are right, and they are not Sunni, which Al Qaeda is, and they have had battles with Al Qaeda. So they are the enemy of Al Qaeda. So the United States would say that our main enemy in the world today is Al Qaeda. That is the main terrorist group that we've been looking at since the war on terror began. But the fact is,
the Daesh, ISIS, yes.
And so those things emanate from Sunni Islam. They actually emanate from that variety of Islam that is promoted by Saudi Arabia. In fact, most people
Sunni, and they have another small sect of Muslims. Saudi, I forgot the name of them. They're a small sect of
Shias.
Well, yeah.
Zaidi. The Zaidi Shias are smaller, sect within the Shia.
I mean, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to basically.
We're happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. And I think you're right. CNN should be out here with you guys. All the mainstream media should be highlighting this issue, but unfortunately they're not here. So, thank you so much. And I just want to show your signs again before we sign off.
Thank you for your good work.
Thank you. Just want to say where you're from again, and you're the person who organized this.
One of several. It's growing. Actually, the good thing is there are more people who are taking up different responsibilities.
Good. And we see a young person who's here, which is really, really good. We need to see young people in these kind of rallies all around the world. Actually, we need young people who are engaged. I mean, we see in Jamaica, we see young people are being engaged in politics from an independent perspective, because that's what we need. Too many young people are siding with one partisan politics. We need independent, objective young people to be engaged in the political spectrum. So thank you so much. I just want to say your name again and where you're from, and then we're going to be signing off. Thank you.
Carmen Trotter, right here from New York City.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Any last word you guys want to say just to Jamaica Live?
We love Jamaica.
Oh, you love Jamaica.
Come visit us again.
Yes, I will. I will actually come back with my cameraman and my mic and everything to highlight you guys again.
Beautiful.
Very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your interest.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Circle up.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was very.
Thank you so much. Actually, I'm going to give you guys a card before I go.
Good.
And I just want to take one of my last.
So I want you to know, if it's of any, it's very interesting to know that the people at the Catholic Worker made this for the war in Iraq back in 2003.
Oh, so this was the people of the Catholic Worker made this for the war in Iraq, and now we
brought them back out.
Brought it back out for the Yemen, for the people of Yemen.
It's sort of never stopped. Our war on terror has been a catastrophe globally.
It's constant. It's constant.
Yeah, for the military-industrial complex, it's a nice equilibrium.
The military-industrial complex.
Yeah,
I think we can sign off on that one. That's a big one, actually.